Today, writers, we are going to start with our essays. So let's get out our writing intention sheet and start writing. Today is 10-26. Today, as a writer, I'm working on collecting ideas as essayists. Writers, I want to tell you a story about a TV show that I like. It's a show where people compete to see who can make the best cake. Give me a thumbs up if you have ever seen a show like that. Well, as you know, the bakers get judged in two ways, how the cake looks and how the cake tastes. So last night, this man on the show made a beautiful cake, 5 tiers tall. But when the judges tasted it, they made faces. Even though his cake was definitely the best in form, in the outward design, the man lost because the contents of the cake didn't work. It may seem strange that I'm telling you about cakes during writing workshop, but I started thinking about essay writing while I was watching the show. I started thinking about how essay writing is sort of like making a big, beautiful cake. When you're making a cake, the form, the shape, matters a lot. But so does the actual batter, the contents of the cake. In the same way, when you are writing an essay, the form or shape matters, but so do the contents. Remember that earlier I told you that essays are grown-up kind of writings? That means it will be challenging but rewarding work. You will have a steep learning curve. So here's the first thing I need to tell you. Collecting entries for essays is not like collecting ideas for narratives. When you collect entries in a narrative unit, those entries are little stories. The entries look similar to the final products. But this week and for the rest of your life, when you collect entries to get yourself started in essay writing, those entries will not be little essays. Instead, you will collect entries for one reason only, to come up with ideas. These entries can be lists or a jumble of ideas, or chains of thoughts, or marginal notes or stories with notes all over them, or they can be fast draft essays. When essayists can carry notebooks, the only goal is for those notebooks to be seed beds for new and insightful ideas. Today I'll show you how to collect entries that can grow new and insightful ideas. Today I want to teach you a strategy essayists use to gather essay entries. One strategy that works is to think of a person who matters to you, and then list specific ideas about that person. Then take one of those ideas and write an entry in which you think about that idea. Here's an entry that somebody came up with. For an example, they put bro. My brother can be annoying. My brother can have anger and whining issues. My brother can have mixed feelings. My brother can be nice and mean at the same time. My brother can say the wrong and right things at times. That was just their idea, but then their entry is my brother can say the wrong and right things at different times. Like one time I had a drawing and I showed it to him and he said, "Did you really draw that? It looks like a 3-year-old drew it," and it hurt me a lot. But another time when I was playing a game, he said, "Wow, you're really good," and it made me feel really good. Let's try this strategy together, so you'll each have one strategy that can get you started writing today. We'll think of a person who matters to us. List ideas about that person, and then choose one and write an entry exploring that one idea. So first we need to think of someone who matters to us. Turn and talk to your partner about somebody who matters to you. Now I'm not going to list just a person like a mail carrier or a neighbor. I don't see all that much. I'm going to pick someone who matters to me. I could write about my dad or my mother or my friend. I think since my dad popped into my head first, I'm going to write about him. Writers, do you see your person in your mind's eyes? Make sure to someone who matters to you. Thumbs up if you can see a person in your mind's eyes. So to start my list, I have my dad at the top of my paper. Let me think of ideas about my dad. So there was this one time that he came to a basketball game and he was wearing this crazy hat and he embarrassed me in front of all my friends. No, wait. That's not an idea, that's a story. I need to list ideas. What do I think about my dad? What are my opinions and thoughts about my dad? One thought is that Dad doesn't let what other people think bother him. I'll write that down. Now let me think of another idea about my dad. I want to think of at least 3. So another thought I have about my dad is that he has taught me so much. I'll write that down too. Okay, I need one more idea. I know my dad always helped me and he cared about my writing, so I'm going to write that one down for my 3rd idea. Now, as we just look back at my notes of what I wrote down, I didn't write down stories about me and my dad or what I think about my dad. These are only ideas. Ideas that my dad have helped me or that I remember of him. Writers, did you see the way I thought of a person that mattered to me and then jotted ideas I have about that person? I did this by pushing myself to say a thought I have about the person is. Then I listed not small stories, but big ideas. In a jiffy, I'm going to start writing about one of those ideas. But first, make sure you've done these steps in the strategy. I bet you've already been thinking of your own person. Right now, use your fingers and list some ideas you have about that person. Push yourself by saying a thought I have about, so on, is, and then jot that thought quick as a wink in your notebook, and then push for another and another. Go ahead and write down your person, your ideas quickly. This should be at a level 0. The next step is to choose an idea and start writing an entry. Watch me, because you'll do this soon. I'll choose an idea quickly because I want to get right to writing. Maybe my dad doesn't let what other people think bother him. Let me think. He doesn't worry about making sure he does what people expect. This means that sometimes he does things that are odd, like using frozen peas as an ice pack or wearing a red plaid hunting cap to school events. Again, I wrote an entry about an idea. My idea was my dad doesn't let what other people think bother him. And then I wrote on from that, stating examples. Writers, did you see the way I chose an idea and I started writing about it? I pushed myself to say what I was thinking, to write more about my idea. Now you're going to try this. Think of your ideas about the person who matters to you. In a minute, you're going to talk to your partner. Listen very closely because you need to help your partner say more and more about his or her idea. You want to have your idea and then talk about your idea with examples. Turn and talk with your partner now. Writers, let's not waste a second of precious writing time. Let's dive right in, right here at the meeting area. Remember, one strategy for writing about big ideas and issues is to think of a person who matters to you. List ideas, and then choose one of those ideas to write long about. When you have finished writing about one idea, grab another idea and write about it as well. This is all that we're going to be doing again today. So if you go through all 3 ideas, what I want you to do is maybe come up with another person who is important to you. Come up with 3 ideas why they're important to you, or what about them that's important, and then you're going to choose again the idea and write long about for your entry. Let's get right to work so we can write the whole time for writing. Our voice is at a level 0, and we are just working on this the whole time. Let's have a great day today.